Your favorite phrase or something you've learned in a different language while traveling?
I think the first word that comes to mind is Jule.
I was going to say the same thing.
And one of the instances sort of moved us towards wanting to solve this problem of not being able to find first-hand genuine travel information. When we went to this place, Cool.
I'm from Cool.
But this
Keenly
incident-
listening now.
So he kind of organized everything for us and gave it. But the things he organized was so
Not
simple that we could have done them ourselves and we would have had a much better experience at much better times. And that's when we realized that if I had this information when I wanted to travel beforehand, I could have had much better outcome of this entire trip for everyone. And that's when we decided that we would like to have the full control of our travels going forward rather than relying on someone doing it
Right.
or organizing it for us.
AI is in one form, I think, a mirror of I. So if the I keeps increasing,
Yeah.
the AI might also increase. The maximum I have used ChatGPT is to get my YouTube titles, which I've never used.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I use it for that purpose. They say once a year go to a place where you've never been before. But the dream is to go to a new place every month. Welcome to episode 4 of Mountain Days, your go-to podcast about mountains and getting all the information you need to do more outdoor adventures. I'm your host Mauna Nanaya, a motorcyclist, travel vlogger and content creator. Today we are going to dive into something that a few of us do, some of us don't like, but most of us know about and still rarely discuss: DIY traveling and trekking. It's not a new or alien concept, but we don't really look at it as a science, do we? Our guests today are Ismail and Saransh, who are travel content creators and are popularly known as Explore the Earth. They write detailed blogs and create destination explainer videos that enable travelers to plan their own trips. They have been featured in the Lonely Planet India magazine for undertaking a DIY bike-packing trip where 3 of them cycled from Manali to Leh completely self-supported. Hi Ismail and Saransh, welcome to the podcast. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you for inviting.
So the most important question, okay? I mean, this is something I googled. I'm not sure if I'm doing it. I'm not sure if many people are doing it. So I want to hear from the horse's mouth. What is DIY travel?
Okay, I think you kind of said it yourself. It's not a big science or it's not a new concept that has came in, like since ages people have been traveling and since ages you have to plan your travels. And at the essence, that is what we say when we say DIY travel. But these days the trends have moved on to organized travel where someone does the background work for making you travel and it's become an experience that you just pay for and get in return instead of the whole process of doing the groundwork yourself, making yourself informed, being responsible about where you're going, being aware about what you're going to do there and being prepared mentally before you travel. You experience that, adapt to that, be flexible about it and kind of self-supported in that way. And that we personally have been enjoying since last almost 10 years now. So we were college friends and then we used to travel like that and that just became a thing for us that we like to do it ourselves. And that is what we say when we say DIY travel, where you do the groundwork, research, planning, executing, travel on your own. And yeah, that's...
So you said you both are college mates.
Yeah, so...
I'm sensing there is a story behind how it started.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were in the room one day, you were studying and then you thought, let's just do something.
Yep.
How did it start? What was the inspiration? What was the story? Give us the BTS.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the 2 of us, we met at Christ University when we were studying for our undergrad. And one of the common things that actually got us together and made us such good friends was the fact that both of us loved to travel. Not as much about content creation, but loved just traveling. And when we were on so many of our trips, when we were trying to get on these trips, so many of the times the one thing that was missing was us being able to be certain that this is the correct information for this place, or we know how, or we can envision how our trip is going to be. It was always like, yeah, we know we can do this at this point in time, and the rest we can figure out there because we are not able to find information for that place. And that's true so many of the times, especially for the hyper-local places in and around the weekend getaways that you want to go for.
Yeah.
And one of the instances that actually sort of moved us towards wanting to solve this problem of not being able to find first-hand genuine travel information was when we went to this place, Cool, and
I'm from Coorg.
That's a good. But this
Keenly
incident,
listening now.
but this incident isn't as good. Yeah.
Okay.
So when we hired a cab for a day to visit all the places from Madikere towards I think Kushalnagar
Yeah.
side.
Okay.
So what happened was the cab driver, he promised us a certain something, but then delivered on it. And when we were like took him up for his word, like told him that okay, this is not what the deal was. The entire union just ganged up on us.
Oh.
Yeah. And we actually
That's
took them to the police, like
Yeah.
which doesn't like I mean which was tough for us as well.
Right,
We're college
of course.
kids. We are in a place wherein they are speaking the local language and we do not have any clue. And it was sort of scary for us.
Yeah.
That was the first time we decided, okay, people need to know that this can happen or this happened at least with us.
Right.
So when they are going for their trip, they are better prepared as to the things they need to be taken care of. So that was like our first thing into this information needs to be out there.
Yeah, so he kind of organized everything for us and gave it. But the things he organized was so
Not
simple that we could have done them ourselves, and we
Right.
would have had a much better experience at much better times. And that's when we realized that if I had this information when I wanted to travel beforehand, I could have had much better outcome of this entire trip for everyone. And that's when we decided that we would like to have the full control of our travels going forward rather than relying on someone doing it
Right.
or organizing it for
Right.
us.
I think
That-
although the experience was bitter.
Yeah,
I mean,
but then it turned
it
out
turned out to
into
be
a
something
very rewarding
right.
thing that we have been doing and practicing
Absolutely.
since almost 10 years now. Like,
Wow, 10 years.
Even
So
though
that makes
not-
sense
yeah.
why you didn't find the information, because now there's plethora of
Yeah.
information that you can find.
That
But 10
is-
years ago was
Agreed.
a different game.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So many people of late, obviously, are into DIYs. A lot of people make content, and there's a lot of information like we just discussed. So, is there a right way? Is there the best way, or is there something that you would like to share about very, very specific to DIY travel? There's so much information now,
Yeah.
but there has to be some,
Yeah.
specific categorical way to go about it, or is it just
Okay.
there?
I think there is no wrong way to do it. Like this, as I said, is not a science or there is no checklist to do it. But it's just that you should have the will to do or choose your own experiences from that trip beforehand. So if you go into that state that okay, this is the experience I want to have. At any place, you can choose to cater or curate your own experience. And when you do that, and when the outcome you receive, that has a much better reward than just a trip which someone had done it and you had a good time. Like I'm not trying to downplay the other side of
course,
it, but it's just that I have always found that whenever I have done my own research and my own, pre-checks to travel, I have just came back with a much more than what I had expected rewards. And this is my way of doing things. I'm sure everyone has their own, and I may be no need to follow it absolutely, but some checks that I would ask people to do would be that do your research well, because now there is so much information, your research time can get a lot shorter, and you can use all the tools here and there to just quickly get through the research. But once you do that, you understand the challenges you are going to take, the risks that you are going to take. Sometimes when you are choosing an adventure, you may not be ready for it, or you may not physically, or the place may be challenging, or in any way, or the language might be an issue. So if you're aware, you prepare yourself well. So do the right research about budgeting, packing, planning, seeing the routes, seeing the trails, seeing the network connectivity. All these checks you can avoid when you are going with an organized thing, but when you are doing it yourself, all these are on your, because you are at risk and you are at fault if something you miss out, and you will need to go through the problems yourself.
Right.
So do the right research pre-trip, and on the trip you'll have to be as flexible as you can, because when you curate your own trip, you are less informed than someone who has been
Absolutely.
doing it a lot.
Right.
So you'll have to be flexible, adaptable, but that's where the fun of this entire adventure is, of traveling
That's
DIY style.
So one of the things, what happens is when you are let's say I want to travel to Coorg for the first time. Yes. Now I do not have as good a friend as you who's from Coorg. What happens is I need certain basic information like how am I going to get there, what am I going to eat, where am I going to stay, the places that I'm going to visit there, and how I'm going to locally commute, and what is going to be the tentative budget. Like these are, I suppose, 5-6 things at the top of your mind when you're planning a particular trip to any particular place. Like even though if you may be outsourcing it, these are things you want to know, either through them or
Yes,
research yourself.
true.
And when you start Googling these, when you start YouTubing, when you start searching
for it.
all of this, you find a whole assortment of information. And as much as Ismail pointed out that a lot of information can get us so much information and make our job easier, I also think the flip side of the coin is there's just too much to sort through as well. So in that regard, I suppose it is important to be cognizant of the fact that you do not have to, believe everything you hear or read in any of these platforms. You have to, at the end of the day, make an informed choice as well. The things that you think, okay, maybe you're in 3 places. Now that's the way you'll have to research, because you just cannot be sure. Because so many of the times, I'd be going to a certain place, I'd be having a different experience because I went off season. Now you're going in season, it doesn't have to be that it is not as crowded. So many of the times
there's some of these comments that says that the place doesn't look anything like your video.
Exactly.
When did you go?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We need to be a little mindful there as to what we're consuming content-wise from Instagram, from YouTube, from Google, as against what we think will work best, given the time we are going at, given the things that we want to do. So I think that's also important. And that only comes with time.
True.
Or if you find the right sources that over time sort of realize that they're reliable when you want to go to a certain place, that helps. So that's what we are trying to create. Because I'll give you the biggest example. So we went to Udupi a few months back, and that was off season. And there wasn't as much crowd in any of the places that we chose to visit. But now I went again in November, and I went during the Diwali time. So it is as in season as it possibly can be. And yet, my brother is sitting right there. I'm sure he's laughing right now. He's smiling at the fact that we had the best of the trip still. The only reason being the information that we followed were from the guides that we are creating. And those guides, we are trying to make sure to give information as what it actually is, instead of trying to portray that you should do this because this is the best. Like, I do not care if you go there or not. What I care about is this place, this is how it is, and this is up to you if you want to do it or not.
So I guess a couple of years ago I went to Kashmir in December during Christmas. It was one of the best decisions and one of the worst decisions, because we ended up on 25th December in Gulmarg, which I had no idea was one of the hot spot in snow, because it had just snowed. And I didn't find this information anywhere. All I found was Gulmarg is the best to go. So I thought, okay, it's off season. It wasn't. The whole world was there. So also, I think you're right. When, as a consumer, the consumers also have to have a checklist of the information they're gathering and how to filter them out. That's very important,
and I think it teaches you to be a better traveler as a responsible traveler, because the responsibility of the whole thing comes on you rather than...
You're not blaming anyone else for something
so
that
it teaches you to be a better responsible traveler for the environment, for the ecosystem, for the locals. Like, in every way, it creates a wholesome vibe for everyone, every party involved. Like,
when you mention that some people do the packaging and the tour thing, right? So in 2019, I went to Bhutan, which was a complete DIY. We just took a motorcycle from Siliguri and then just rode in. And on the road, I'm sitting behind as a pillion, and I'm like, okay, these are the documents we need, tick, tick, tick. And then we reached the gate, and then we just took printouts and done. So I just came back from Bhutan last month, and it was a complete tour package thing. So it's not that we had a bad experience. Obviously, it was very beautiful and it was very well curated, but we did the same thing and ended up having totally different experience.
That's it. Like, to each his own. There is no right or wrong way of doing things. This is what we have been doing, and we would encourage someone to try it out. Both the sides of things.
Yeah, true. So, of all the 10 years of experiences that you've had and you've been traveling as DIY travelers, there has to be some core memories. There has to be some silly mistakes. There has to be some, oh my god, why are we doing this? I mean, probably
I think those instances have been more often than I'd like to admit.
That means you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
I read this somewhere. If you're trekking somewhere and if you're remembering your soft, cushioned bed, then you're doing it right. Then you're in the right place and you're doing it right. So tell me some of these.
I think all of them happened in one trip itself. So we cycled from Manali to Leh, and that was one of the first big adventures that we decided to do in DIY. Like, we had been doing smaller trips, but this was like a 12-13 day expedition that we were trying to undertake and to challenge ourselves and test out our grit, whatever, like, and just to feel that in the essence of nature. So we didn't own cycles. We were completely inexperienced in cycling. We bought our cycles from Ludhiana.
You
Like on the way,
purchased?
yeah, we purchased.
Okay.
Like we that's how we went. Like okay, renting was difficult, and we didn't want to rent and let that cycle go. Like we wanted, it became a part of our journey. You know, we felt that okay, it's worth it to. So we bought cycles on the way. We delivered, like we got them on with us. Like we were each carrying our own boxes, and we loaded them on Manali bus. We reached Manali.
That's cycle bike packing. That's
Yeah,
bike packing.
cycle,
Wow,
yeah,
I learned that
bike
today.
packing as
bike
in,
packing.
yeah,
that's
bike the
amazing. Yeah.
westernized bike.
Bike packing in the box. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So and then we didn't know how to assemble the cycles. They were in the box, so we figuring out how to assemble the cycles. On the way, we had a cutter and we were cutting off the ties, and Saransh manages to cut through his hand just on the day of we were about to cycle. So the whole trip, and it was just us, and it was raining, and we were outside on the road, and he was bleeding continuously, so we had to put drags, and we had to find someone who can help with the right equipment. So we were running around, and yeah, so these things happen, which are unforeseen and unplanned, and can only, if it was a supported tour, then there would have been the right person who can have a guided a support vehicle to immediately take you to the clinic. We didn't have to run 1 kilometer to find someone, and all these, yeah.
No, but what I'm trying to add here is, the beauty of this is the fact that how prepared we must have been in our minds that we are buying a cycle on our way to Manali. Yeah, and the last time we've cycled before that is maybe like 5-6 years ago when we were in school. I managed to cut my hand, and instead of getting stitches done as prescribed by the doctor, we are like, we'll just bandage it. It's all right. Just give us enough bandages. The fact that all of this is happening in talk about the n number of things that can go wrong, went wrong, and we are still all right that we are going to do this and we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, and
that's the beauty of DIY travel.
And the reason for that confidence was that we were well prepared. We knew, we kind of learned the in and outs of the cycling, the first aid we need to carry, the risk that we were going to take. All these things we had prepared ourselves. So we felt confident enough to pass through that challenge or obstacle and just continue the adventure. And we knew that 10 more things are going to come on the way. And that whole experience of going offline off the grid for 6 days, we had no networks, we didn't inform, we were not able to update our family that we are safe. There were landslides in the news, so families are getting worried that okay, are they going to come out the other end or not. So all this happened, and we were carrying our own tent, we were carrying our own sleeping bags, our own food through the 12 days of cycling through Ladakh, Himachal, and there were 5 high passes, and we literally tested our guts out that can we even climb this, and there is no way to go back because it's equally difficult to go back this way or that way, and we are in middle of complete wilderness. So these adventures, I felt that when done unsupported in this way, being responsible, I'm not promoting it to do it.
Right, it's not be reckless, it's responsible.
Dare yourself. I'm not daring anyone, I'm just saying that you can be prepared enough to take on such challenges in a way that make it much more rewarding.
I was just looking at your profile, and I was thinking, have I ever done DIY? And then I realized that in 2021 cooped up because of 1.5 years, we were like, oh my god, we gotta get out. So we just took our motorbike and went to Spiti. It was a 45 days long ride and travel. We just started from Bangalore and did a whole circuit. So at the end of it, I had Excels. With actually the beginning of it, I had Excels, I had checklists, I had everything ready on my phone. I had downloaded numerous apps, and I was so prepared because it was the first tour. And we just came back from our 4th tour, and we just went with, not that we're not prepared, but we just left. We just left that morning, and we saw, okay, however far we can go, we'll go, and then we'll stop. So then I said, have we become reckless? I asked my husband, have we become reckless? Shouldn't we be more prepared? And then he's like, no, but you are prepared. You're prepared from your previous 3 experiences. Those things, sometimes like, whoa, you are smart. I mean, that's sport, right? It's not that you have to sit and research on Google all the time, but
True.
it is again something that you feed off your previous experiences, things that have gone wrong, and you know that you can get out of it.
Yeah. You understand
only
the
makes you
limitations you have.
stronger,
You
right.
see the resources you need, and you use your experience to fill in the gaps and
Yeah.
then plan.
You'll also know when to say, okay, this is where we put a hard
Put a
stop.
line. Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. So there must be a checklist that you follow. So give me for travel and trek.
Okay. So for travel, I think I start with Google Maps first. I feel like I need to, visit this region. So I check out the map. I see the cities. It has all the photos. It has the nearby attractions.
Right.
And I start pinning it down into a custom Google map. So there is this something called Google My Maps,
Okay.
in which you can actually put your own labels, make your own itinerary, put on layers, and you can
Nice.
make a full DIY itinerary. So this is my start of every trip.
Okay.
And then I have a Notion page where I list down the whole itinerary, the places, things I want to do, and the whole plan. So with this too, the whole planning research starts. Research point goes into the Notion document, and everything is pinned on the map, so I can visualize. This is the research or the prep I do, and then I think I discover more things from YouTube, Insta, blogs to
Right.
get ideas that
Yeah.
okay, what more can this place offer, or how can I make my experience better?
Take the best of everything.
Yeah, and whatever someone has explained, what I like from everyone, I take it and curate my own trip and put it on the map. And then it's just case to case. Somewhere I need translators, so I download Google Translate, catch on some main phrases for those and note them down in offline way. If I need offline maps, I download them on Google Maps so that GPS works even if
Right.
network is not there. And due diligence for permits, all the websites, whatever needs to be done. Kind of I prefer offline because sometimes it online kind of is difficult on places where we go. And then on the trip, it's take it as you go, keep some cash on you sometimes for emergencies, and carry warm layers. Sometimes they are, you
Layering.
don't expect, and sometimes you may need. Carry rain protection for your devices, gadgets, or whatever. Just
Right.
one form of rain or water protection,
Right.
irrespective of what season.
So checklist based on weather, based on location, based on
Currency,
it
yeah.
sort of changes for
Yeah,
traveling.
it is curated, but I kind of check off the main list depending on. But yeah, this is my process for DIY travel. Starts
Nice.
with map. Google Map is my go-to exploratory thing, and then it converts into the.
What about trekking? Give me a quick list of things that you definitely put in your bag.
Oh, you're just asking about the packing list here. Okay, then first of all, the toiletries, all of that, and then my trekking shoes, my trekking gear, and then I like to keep both actually half sleeve t-shirts as well as full sleeves, and I keep the sleeves as well.
Sleeves separate.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes what happens is like if I'm just wearing full sleeves, it still gets suffocated at times. So I just want
Yeah.
the air to go in as well. So all of these things, like these are some basic things that, and then
We like hats over sun caps because it protects your necks and ears, sunglasses, and then it depends on trip to trip. If you're carrying a tent, sleeping bag, mattresses, or if you're only carrying sleeping bags, or if you're
Right.
carrying the whole set. And then we have the
then,
cooking.
like if we are camping, then headlamps, then
Yeah.
Headlamps are a must, irrespective of
Right.
travel or trip. Yeah.
So we get all of these on in Decathlon.
oh, yeah.
We only
So
use
you
from
only use Decathlon.
I think we only get these from Decathlon most of the time, so
Right.
we kind of just jump in, and now I think we have one thing from every aisle. I think now, by this time.
Oh, the aisles.
Yeah.
You can get lost in the
Yeah,
aisles and plan an entire trip in the aisles.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so coming to a very serious and important question. I think when you probably go in a tour package or with somebody who's overlooking you, there might be some rules you might still follow because there are do's and don'ts. So as DIY enthusiasts, how do you plan your leave no trace? How do you sort of keep up with it? Do you try to do that? And
Yeah.
if you do, then how are you achieving it?
I think we are strong advocates for not carrying plastic in the first place, so that there is no point of throwing the wrapper away. That's the least you can do. That avoid any plastic packagings before the trip itself. And so food, snacks, everything in reusable containers, or paper, which can be not such a big thing. But we try to leave no trace so that, and whatever, like we always have a trash bag in our every backpack, day pack or truck sacks. So in car, wherever, we always use trash bag. Even if we see on trails there are dustbins, but they can't be maintained very well, so we don't prefer to dump it there, we rather carry it back. Like that is, I think everyone should start incorporating, seeing the condition. And when you do it DIY, kind of it hits you that I'm responsible for this.
Yeah.
When planning, you kind of get a sense of
Yeah.
owning up to your own actions a little
Absolutely.
better. So we strongly advocate, firstly, avoid plastics, and even if you have to rely on using some form of plastic packaging or bottles, try to bring it back rather than
Yeah.
dump it there, because
Or at least leave it in a place that can be
Yeah.
fetched by someone.
yeah, like
Other-
you have to analyze that, is
Yeah.
it possible or not, but
You'll find a lot of anecdotes, like people doing various things. This was like one of our favorites from when we were on the Manali Leh highway. There was this person. He is a foreigner based out of Goa now. He One of the things he wasn't happy about was that he smoked cigarettes. But he said this, that now my habit aside, I never throw a butt down. It always goes back in my backpack. Irrespective of how much I've
Yeah.
smoked it, I'll
Yeah.
put it out and it'll go back in my backpack, because that thing doesn't decompose for
so he
decades.
showed us a
Right.
fanny pack full of cigarettes, but he was carrying out his whole Ladakh trip.
Right.
And that sets an example, and I hope that reaches more people. And then just even a tiny thing which may drop off your pocket should be kept carefully.
It's very nice to see the wrapper fly away in the mountains. Probably, I don't know. I've seen this from buses. It flies out and it's
Yeah,
going,
it
but
is very-
it's not supposed to be poetic.
Yeah.
So it-
So many
I
times
see
you
that.
want to say something, but
Yeah.
then you're also not sure if you really
right,
want to confirm
right way
them
of
that
saying
way.
it. Yeah, totally. But I think our podcast listeners will definitely have a takeaway from
Yeah.
this. Now coming to a question that I think is very interesting. This is where the world and everybody's moving towards. And when we are stuck somewhere now, we open something called ChatGPT and we start asking. And I've asked, can you show me a bike which has eyes and hats and stuff like that? Because I want to do something with it. So tell me. Has that changed something for you who has been providing itineraries and travel ideas for a decade now? Has this changed? Is this a setback? Is this something that is futuristic? And moreover, is it accurate?
So actually, that's a very good question. And one of the things how we wanted to leverage it when we first, when ChatGPT came into being, was that, okay, this maybe makes our research part of things easier when we are going for a particular trip. Yeah, that's what our assumption was anyway. And we started searching various things on it, and it actually is good for skeletal part of things. Now, if I were to say, what are the things that you can do in Ladakh? Now they talk about the Hemis Monastery, Ki
Shanti Stupa,
Monastery,
like the top 5 places.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
all of that thing is alright, because that is well documented, so to say, in blogs otherwise. That part of things ChatGPT can take care of. But if you were to venture into, now what are some of the hidden gems that I'd like to visit?
Yeah.
That I think is something that it wouldn't be able
How
to.
would it know what is hidden gem?
Yeah, exactly.
For
because-
you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
how would I? Oh, so okay. So when I say hidden gem, I would essentially mean a place wherein I'd find less crowd. Yeah, that is my definition of hidden gem, especially when I'm traveling from metropolitan city to a place where I do not maybe want as much, noise or
Yeah.
clutter around me all the time, wherein I'm sort of almost zoned out or oblivious to what is going around me. I want to be there, so I just want less people around me. Yeah, so that's my definition of a hidden gem. So when I say that, and I have we actually did a good sort of trial run for this. This was just one place, and we come back to Cool. Yeah, so
I'm glad.
so we did this because at that point in time we had done this trip to Coorg, and we were like, okay, let's give ChatGPT a chance and let's see what it gives as the end results. By that time we were already back from the trip. We sort of knew the things that we can do, the things would work well for us, all those things. Now my search was only hidden gems in Coorg, hidden gems / offbeat places to visit in Coorg.
Okay.
That was my search. It gave me 10 different results. Oh, and by the way, I searched this 5 times. It gave me 7 results, 5 results, 10 results, and sometimes these were different.
Okay.
Yeah. And for our reel, what we did was we just picked the 10 results, and we're just mocking throughout the entire video as to mocking back, because we had the footage from that place. we're showing that according to ChatGPT, this is a place which is offbeat, but then this is what we
This is
saw.
what
Yeah, since you're from Cook, the number one offbeat spot was Abbey Falls.
What?
Yeah, the most popular spot where it's always crowded. Like
Yeah,
it's
and it's
not
Bank
at all-
Center in Madikeri.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
number
yeah.
one on the list. And
Mandalpatti, all of these, like
Yeah.
the
They were-
ones
so
that
ChatGPT
everyone goes
considers.
to.
So that's where
Okay.
that's where it falls short of
Right.
the personalization, the actual documentation, because it's not documented. Like beyond these 10, 20 spots, there is no like authoritative list of like 50 more places that can be explored or are not yet explored. So ChatGPT does not have a model to rely on anything, and
Yeah.
all the travel bots that have come up kind of use the same framework as their core. So when the data doesn't exist, how can it give a better?
Well, to the point when we even do a Google search, the first article that you'll see, I can bet almost those top 10 places are going to be repeated in the
Right.
Yeah.
5
So
articles.
Right.
yeah, so I think
So-
ChatGPT you
Picked it
can't rely for these things, but
Right.
I think where you can rely on are the flights or the booking, the best ways to like conveniently reach, and finding these answers in one systematic format. Like if you ask for a 3-day or 5-day or 15-day itinerary for one place, it can give you the blanks to fill in. Like okay, these are the things you can do, and then you can just need to replace as per your curation.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes job easier, but not. It doesn't complete the job and give you.
Well, it can be your first search,
Yeah.
but that's really the extent of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to use it at
Yeah.
this point in time at the very least.
Yeah.
AI is in one form, I think, a mirror of I. So if the I keeps increasing,
Yeah.
the AI might also increase.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. The maximum I've used ChatGPT is to get my YouTube titles, which I've never used.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I use it for that
Yeah.
purpose.
Just
Give me
to-
some words that I can use here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, awesome. That's a good point that it's not there yet, but again,
Maybe, yeah.
open-ended, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. So
But
awesome.
even then, like, okay, let me just add to this. Like, when we say that down the line, it may change that you'll get what you want. But that isn't going to be true for the better part. Because it doesn't know you as a person as to what are the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
It just knows what people in general like.
Like
You do not have to
But
fall in that category.
that's yet.
yet.
10 years down the line, the personalization
if it
may be so
recognizes-
custom that
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
fair
if it's personal to my search and my login and my details,
By
then it
that
might
time
be
they have
able
all
to,
the data to
yeah,
work
might
it
be able
out.
to come up with
So let's
options.
wait for that
It's
day,
like
yeah.
we already know that we speak about shopping something and you start getting the lists on your phone now. So
Yeah, fair.
we don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So on that note, this was a very fun and interactive not talk right now. I'm not done with you guys yet. So we have a fun rapid fire round, and you can take turns, question
Okay.
by question. I'm gonna quickly ask the question, and you can
Okay.
answer in more than one word if you feel like you have to explain it.
Okay.
But yeah, let's do this. Ready? Okay. The most inspiring travel movie that's sadly quite underrated.
Okay. Walter Mitty is over. Like already too famous, so I'll skip that one. But then there is Road to La Paz. It's an Argentine film. Then there is Darjeeling Limited, Wes Anderson movie, but
Oh.
pretty famous and
That's-
actually
I've
good.
seen Darjeeling.
Yeah. Then wait. I had one more. Vaitu Mama. I forgot the name. It's a Mexican film
Okay.
traveling through Mexico. Yeah, I have a few more, but I don't remember the names. But yeah, I
Awesome.
think these three are good enough.
Walter
People
Mitty
should
just-
watch more.
Too good. Yeah. Awesome.
I need
Next.
to add that to my list.
A motorcycle.
Do you have
diaries.
something to add that
No.
you
Motorcycle diaries. I'll add for him.
You're adding for him. Nice. Next one. Disclose your travel playlist.
Oh, like the popular ones, like, I mean, Evergreen, Dil Chahta Hai,
Ah,
Hera Tera, then Highway to Hell. I mean, these are some, and then Kun Faya Kun if you really want to go in that zone. But recently I started listening to this song. Oh, fuck. I'm clearly not remembering the name.
Yeah.
Sapno Ka Mol Kya Hai? This is by this band Dream Note. And I like the lyrics of that song, and I haven't had a chance to go on a trip post listening to this song, but I'm quite sure that I'll vibe to it, and
Nice.
you can check it out.
okay. My go-to is Coke Studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah,
there's
endless, yeah.
decades
No
of
problem.
Coke Studio
Yeah.
list that just keeps
Can
going
never
on.
go wrong
Yeah.
with it.
Okay, next one. Travel advice on the internet you want people to stop listening to. stop. Ditch this advice.
I think it would be about this chat GPT thing where influencers are kind of encouraging people to just, okay, this makes your job so much easier rather than pointing out the actual things like,
Right.
I mean, it makes your job shorter, but doesn't rely. I
Right.
mean,
Okay.
do your own research. I still prefer that. So
Okay.
maybe if
Interesting.
you,
One travel trend you hate.
Trend I hate. Oh,
We-
Okay.
we-
I
think
I'm
we are
prompting
gonna-
you. We spoke about it in the beginning of the podcast.
no, but in general, I think, okay, this is a tough one because I really do
Might
not want,
anger.
no, this is not like I hate, but this is more like that gets too boring too fast for me. Is like the easiest possible transitions and then people going in the caption the transition that I'd want in my
All right, I
life.
saw the
So,
latest one.
consuming that content gets too boring too fast for me. So I do not hate it per se, but I do not enjoy it as much either.
I'm not guilty of doing it, so I can agree with you.
phew, thank God.
I wanted to, but I didn't have the right transition. That is the reason. Okay. A song that perfectly captures your feelings for the mountains.
For the mountains. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. So it's called Var del Dur. It's from this movie Captain Fantastic. The word is Icelandic for campfire.
Okay.
It's an instrumental song and with some vocals but no lyrics, like just a female opera singer kind of thing. And it just hits the right notes,
Nice.
like the feeling of campfire kind of audibly, you know, like rather than visually or
The other day,
warmth.
we were listening to it at our place and we weren't even on some trip and we leisured.
Yeah, we stop and just
Oh.
close our eyes and take a break. We use listening to.
And for me, it is Nothing Else Matters from Metallica.
Metallica,
It's
wow,
something
that's
always
rare
it just
contrast,
it
like-
hits you. I mean, the lyrics. It's
oh,
something
yeah, fair enough.
Oh, but that's
at any point in
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Okay. What comes to your mind when we say mountain days? Anybody can answer.
For me, like lazing around on like rolling meadows, watching the most beautiful sunsets, and like being in close company with the closest of people I would like to spend more time lazing around with.
I think for me, it's on the other end of the spectrum. I'd rather be doing something in the mountains. Like it can be a short hike, it can be an arduous trek, but I think that gets me in the zone. When I think of mountain days, it's like doing something, being more active, if you will.
I think a Decathlon's podcast. Okay. Next one. The closest you have come to quitting DIY travel and outsourcing your travel plans.
So, okay, let me put it this way. When you are going in a group trip, let's say it's a family group trip of, let's say the entire family is going to go on that trip. It's 30 people. And now
30 people, family.
Oh, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's a wedding.
Yeah, but I get that.
But yeah, these things happen once in a while. Like everyone is ready for whatever reason, they do not have anything better to do. But it happens. And then there are 30 people with nuances that you do not want to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they
when
want, someone wants this,
Yeah.
someone wants a pool, someone wants a hike, someone
Yeah.
wants a.
It's
so
easier to say it's not in your
then
package.
it's not do it yourself. It's like make him do it for you.
Not up to me. That guy made the package.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't expect that answer at all. Interesting. Okay. So we have last few questions. Your favorite phrase or something you've learned in a different language while traveling?
I think the first word that comes to mind is Jule,
I was going to say the same thing.
because it just in one word captures the whole emotion,
Just,
the whole
yeah,
warmth, the whole
everything.
sweetness of the people, and that stuck like,
Right.
and we just started using it sometimes in
Yeah.
our lives after we came back cycling from.
Every time I've seen someone say it, it's always with a smile.
Yeah.
It always.
And,
And then we just
nod
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a Julie.
brought
you know?
that back with us from mountains, like when
Yeah.
after the trip, like that stayed the most, which was intangible, but that warmth and the sweetness to share it forward.
Yeah. Whenever we do treks in Ladakh, right, or even mountain biking when we are there, you're so tired, you don't want to say anything else, but the person's passing by, you say
Jule.
Jule. You just say
It
Jule,
just comes
right?
out from the heart, right?
Awesome. Okay, I have last two questions. So, an overhyped travel destination that people need to get over.
Okay, for me, it's Ladakh and biking trips. Like
Okay.
motorcycle.
Ouch.
Okay.
I might anger a lot of people, but yeah, I think there is much more to explore, experience rather than just that Manali to Leh route and posting the same 2-3 reels.
Okay.
Come
For you?
Oh, no.
Ouch, sorry.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Let's
That
trim
was
this.
so harsh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to turn a few heads to this one. Like, for me, it's Goa.
I was thinking one of you might say Goa.
Because I personally do not like to party as much, and if we keep that side of things aside, I think a lot of places can offer that beach vibe much, like way better than Goa ever can, at least now in my opinion.
I think Goa is more of that stress-free mentality now, where people want to just do. It's becoming
It's kind
less
of-
and less of a travel
Yeah,
destination.
it's kind of becoming Vegas for like just
yeah,
going
more of a let's go
guilt-free
just
trip and
guilt-free
just,
trip.
yeah,
Yes,
come back
that's
after.
what it's become. I have a last question.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite hack or a tip that you have picked up in the last decade?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. One.
You've hacked it.
I think for me it is this Google My Maps thing.
Ah,
It is a very good feature which is not used by I think a majority,
Yeah.
at least, or that's what I believe, that not a lot of people, because I think it's not on the phone app. It can only be accessed from Google Maps
Okay.
desktop site.
Okay.
Yet, so making that map is I think a big tip for the type of travels I'm doing.
And I think
That's a big hack, I would say.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with it. And on the other side of things, which is like more like soft, that way would be maybe just knowing the two words, thank you and hello in any language. It just breaks some barriers as to that you're from an outside place and
You're
sort
trying.
of they're living there and you're a guest there. Just
Yeah.
I think that helps with
Yeah.
a lot of conversations is what I feel.
Awesome. That's very interesting. Both the answers. So that's the end of rapid fire. But I have one last question to ask you. So you've been doing it for 10 years, and inshallah you'll do it for 10 more years. So what do you think is going to help you sustain this? How are you going to sustain it? Just the love, the passion, the what is it that's going to make you want to continue to do this?
I think, okay, I'll say a short answer. The channel name or whatever, like what we do, it just says itself, like it says explore the earth. That spirit of exploring just comes from within, be it like mountains, beaches, nothing, like, or just your own city or your own backyard. Just that spirit of having that kind of keeps us going some days, and that's enough to go for as long as we need to, for me.
So at the core of what we do is we go on these travels. We enjoy it a lot. And one of the problems that we almost every time come across while figuring these trips out is lack of information, or the lack of information the way we want to travel, at least. Yeah, lack of maybe personalized first-hand information the way we'd want it to. And we are trying to solve for that by actually making these destination travel guides that we are. Now, the drive that we have for it, like we do not really need to solve for it, yes. Like we are able to enjoy it, and that's good enough for us. But the fact that we want to solve for this comes from the fact that we really believe that adventure is out there and we just need to go explore. And if we can help people
Feel that, no, just
with like the footsteps to maybe
Yeah.
the way they can do that, I think we've done our job well,
Yeah.
and we'd love to maybe do it for decades altogether.
Nice. Amazing. So, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your experience and lovely anecdotes. I enjoyed talking to you, and I hope our podcast listeners also start their DIY journey if they haven't, and if they are already doing, they have sort of can upgrade now from that.
Absolutely.
And I'm also going to request them to follow you on Instagram and YouTube. So, thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for
Thank you,
inviting
Mona,
us. This
and
was a
yeah,
fun
thank you,
conversation.
Vikas, for
Definitely
hosting
fun.
this, yeah.
Definitely fun conversation. That brings us to the end of this episode. We hope you all are now ready to DIY your travels. If you have any more questions, you can follow Explore the Earth or leave your comments on our channel. we will make sure we will get back to you. Subscribe to Decathlon Sports India YouTube channel to stay tuned for the next episode where we discuss how to become a digital nomad and spend more time in the mountains. I'm definitely going to be watching this and going to be hosting it. So we have a lot of interesting guests lined up to share their unique travel stories, and they're all going to be crazy. So stay tuned and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Makes you wonder. Like, I think traveling is like only traveling gets you in these positions when you are able to do all.
Right.
Yeah.
Anytime someone says it's just a paper, rock, paper, scissors, paper wins.
Yeah. Silliest things that we've managed to do is we went on this camping trip. The only thing that we didn't carry with us was the tent.
We were four of us.
Camera. Lock the
चलो
camera.
चलो ready
So you're responsible.